World War I was highly significant for Australia because wartime experiences helped shape Australian identity and change Australian society. World War I began in 1914, and Australia entered the conflict as part of the British Empire. More than 416,000 Australians enlisted, and over 60,000 Australians died during the war. One important wartime experience was the Gallipoli Campaign in 1915, where Australian soldiers faced difficult terrain, disease, and strong Ottoman resistance. Although the campaign was unsuccessful, it contributed to the development of the Anzac Legend and helped shape Australian national identity through values such as courage, sacrifice, and mateship. Another important wartime experience was the service of Australians on the Western Front from 1916 to 1918, where soldiers endured harsh trench warfare conditions, mud shelling, and heavy casualties. These experiences strengthened ideas of endurance and mateship and reinforced the Anzac identity. A further important impact was the contribution of women through organizations such as the Australian Army Nursing Service, the Red Cross, and the Wounded and Missing Inquiry Bureau. This is significant because it expanded opportunities beyond traditional domestic roles and increased women's involvement in public and wartime service. Another key impact was the conscription referendums of 1916 and 1917, which divided Australian society and revealed disagreements about patriotism, democracy, and compulsory military service. This is significant because it created lasting social and political tensions within Australian society. While Gallipoli became a symbol of national identity, the Western Front highlighted the heavy sacrifices made by Australian soldiers. Compared with this, conscription had a greater impact on social unity because it divided Australians at home rather than on the battlefield. Together, these wartime experiences demonstrate that World War I influenced both Australian identity and Australian society through unity, sacrifice, and division. Therefore, World War I was highly significant because it created the Anzac identity, expanded opportunities for women, and contributed to long-term social and political change in Australia. World War II. World War II was highly significant for Australia because it transformed Australia's security, international relationships, and society. World War II lasted from 1939 to 1945, and unlike World War I, Australia faced a direct threat from Japan in the Pacific. One significant wartime experience was the Kokoda Campaign in 1942, when Australian soldiers fought Japanese forces in Papua New Guinea under harsh jungle conditions while attempting to stop the advance towards Port Moresby. Supported by the Papuan carriers known as the Fuzzy Wuzzy Angels, Australian forces successfully halted Japanese expansion. This experience is significant because it helped protect Australia from a direct threat and strengthen national identity through courage, sacrifice, and resilience. Another important wartime experience was the fall of Singapore in February 1942, which resulted in approximately 15,000 Australians becoming prisoners of war, many of whom later suffered on the Burma-Thailand Railway. This is significant because it shattered confidence in Britain's ability to defend Australia and encouraged closer ties with the United States, changing Australia's defense priorities and international relationships. A further important impact was the increased involvement of women in organizations such as the AWAS, WAAAF, and WRANS, as well as in factories and industry. This is significant because it expanded women's roles in society and challenged traditional gender expectations, contributing to long-term social change. While Kokoda demonstrated Australia's determination to defend itself, the fall of Singapore revealed vulnerability and dependence on stronger allies. Compared with Kokoda, Singapore had a greater long-term impact because it permanently changed Australia's international relationships and defense policy. Together, these experiences demonstrate that World War II transformed both Australian society and Australia's place in the world through military, political, and social change. Therefore, World War II was highly significant because it strengthened national identity, reshaped international relationships, and brought major social changes that helped shape modern Australia. Therefore, World War I and World War II were highly significant for Australia because they shaped Australian identity, transformed society, and changed Australia's relationships with the wider world. Although World War I contributed to the development of the Anzac legend and social divisions, World War II had an even greater impact by directly threatening Australia, strengthening ties with the United States, and bringing lasting social and political change.